Get started. The March 2025 meeting of the Murfreesboro Golf Commission will come to order. I've asked Trey to lead our prayer and our pledge this morning. Trey?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we just thank you for the beautiful weather you've given us. We thank you, Lord, for the time we have together this morning. We just pray, Lord, that you would be with us as we try to make decisions, Lord, for our community and for the golf course that serves our community, Lord. We just thank you for all your many blessings. We thank you for our health, Lord, and we just ask that you would just be with us and help guide our decision making this morning, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for your Son, Jesus, and it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vicki, do we have any visitors making a public comment?
No, I did not receive any.
Our first item of new business is to consider the minutes of December. And probably everybody's had a chance to go over them. Is there any discussion or questions about the minutes from last meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion to, Larry's got a motion to take the minutes as presented, and we have a second. I think we've got to go back now and do the roll call vote.
No, they've done away with that.
No, they've come back again.
It has?
Yes.
I think, Mr. Turner, I think they wanted to do it for Parks and Recreation. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
And then they said pickleball, tennis, and then golf. It's not needed.
It's not necessary? Well, good.
Sorry, it was all over the place, but I think the Parks and Rec, yes, but these not as much.
So y'all, we're exempt, huh?
You're exempt. If it becomes necessary and it gets pretty contentious in here, we might have to ask for a roll call. I doubt that will happen. We'll know if we need to.
All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Opposed? Motion carried. Course maintenance and improvements, the spring 2025 projects.
So just kind of update everybody on a couple things going on. We some of them are newer than others, so we painted the fairways this year green. So I don't know if you got a chance to play, what your feedback is on that. Marty, I don't know when did that was 1st of January roughly, in December. I don't remember exactly the date when that happened, but
yeah, it took over a few different weeks because just trying to get the right weather. It goes down a little better when it's wet or frost is on the ground, so we just play around with different rates and stuff. It's our first time messing with it, so trying to just get it, trying to figure it out, but we think we kind of got an idea what will be the best rate-wise and all that for next year.
What do you think about it?
I like it a lot. I think it really does give instead of just this blank sea of dormant Bermuda grass, even though, when you're on top of it, you're not really, and you're hitting your shot off of it, you're not really seeing like you're standing on a green fairway or something, but it just from playing the golf course from a visual, I think it's really a big improvement.
Are you putting down paint, or are you putting down some kind of color?
It's a paint. It is actually, they make it just for painting dormant turf. It's designed just for that. The product we use this year is the guys that kind of perfected this, I guess, years ago. It's called a company called Endurant, and that's a sort of an industry standard paint that we used this year.
Well, for my own information, what does it cost?
Well, if you do it right, we probably could have spent a little bit more, got a little bit more paint. probably about $10,000 or $11,000. They used to compare it to overseeding with ryegrass, and of course, there's ryegrass has its own problems. It'll thin your fairways out when you're coming out of dormancy or it's burning out, so it'll thin your grass out. But it's also about the same price to overseed with ryegrass it is to paint your fairways. So you get the benefit of not hurting your fairways coming out of dormancy too. It's not the same for sure, but it's sort of gotten to be, nobody really overseeds anymore because there's a lot of issues with it, to be honest with you. Unless you're Augusta.
I know, but not, I hadn't talked to any of like Chris Hartwig or any of those guys. None of them recommend that overseeding.
Not anymore, no. No, it's a thing of the past now. This is the new thing. Everybody does it to an extent, just don't know if everybody sees the economic impact of, doing all your fairways. It's a pretty significant part of your budget for those kinds of things. And so it's just really for aesthetic and playability. And I don't know if you can ever justify that exactly, but
Well, I think so. I think people come and drop down their money.
Yeah.
They want,
wanna
if
have
it's
good-
rain, they're more satisfied.
yeah, you just want to have a good experience.
Yeah.
From the old people that I play with, like good positive comments about the aesthetics, but probably that in conjunction with staying on the cart paths all winter has made the play much better. I'm sure we've had a few casualties that couldn't play and couldn't walk from them, but the vast majority, I haven't seen him back off and volume with our groups. I'm picking it up, but that's been one of the most positive things about the playability of the thing.
Yeah, I hope it'll show up in this spring when we're greening up. You'll be able to see a big difference.
Yeah, I've not seen as many not play. I've seen a few more choose to walk, certainly.
Yeah.
But I think people are still out there. They were yesterday, I know that.
To that point, a question, is there a mechanism, so I found myself, on one, you hit the natural shots to hit somewhere over close to the water, the cart path's over on the other side, and you get out there, take your clubs, but there's no simple mechanism to take sand to fill. Is there a thought of us, I know you can get the scoops that are a little more, that keep sand in, that almost acts like a sand bottle.
Like the bottle.
You know what I'm talking about, instead of just a cup scoop, something to make it more, to encourage people to go, to take it out there with them. I'm not gonna walk out there with my little, but if there's something else. And I know it may not be feasible to put the round bottles, I get that, but, in the wintertime, next year, I think it's been a huge success. I think it looks great, I think it plays great. But Saturday, when we were out there, well, we were off the past Saturday, but this past weekend I was out there playing, and I found myself being opposite cart path, go out and hit a shot. Well, I got reached down here, but I'm not going to walk back over and get it and go back,
Right.
Is there a thought, have you thought about that, or has anybody else mentioned that?
It has come up. Hopefully, as we approach the end of the year, it'll be about time for a new fleet of golf cars anyway. So,
Gotcha.
I think when we do switch, we will go back to the sand bottles, partly for that reason.
2 bottles,
Yeah,
okay.
2 bottles, yeah. And we also look at getting a fleet of walking carts that will have a place for a sand bottle on those as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get them before the end of the year before that happens. But somebody else has mentioned that.
Yeah, I think it's great.
That's a great point.
I think being off the paths has been fantastic, on the paths has been fantastic. Yeah.
What's the date that we're getting off the cart path?
When the grass greens up, I guess. I don't know.
It's probably sooner than later. I don't know. I think we never really did talk about a date, but, you know, we kind of talked around the idea of when the time changes, and that's already happened, so probably soon. I guess we'll just,
Not April 1st.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, I know somebody earlier, they said mid-March, and then I've heard April 1, so.
Last thing I saw was in writing. It said mid-March.
Mid-March, yeah.
I'm not pushing it one way or the other, but old people read mid-March.
I hear you.
The other couple things going on right now, if you've played it's probably been this past week, Marty can probably speak more to it. We've got if you play the back tees, which I don't know how many of you do, I know some of you may, there's on every hole, there's a new round yardage marker that's got the yardage of the hole. And then they're on each tee box on par 3s, so that way we replaced all those. There were some that were missing during the renovations, so those are out there. And then there's additional markers on holes 4 and 7 that basically give you the carry distance, or not the carry distance, but just the distance from that tee box to the 150 marker in the fairway, to kind of give people an idea on those holes.
Have they been putting in the mark?
I know all the round ones have it. The
Yeah,
square
I know.
one, they were working on the
I
square
know
ones.
Monday there was just a hole there on 4 and.
Oh, where it should go. I'm not sure on those. I knew that all the round ones are in. They were working on those, but I'm not sure. Those may not be in yet. They may be getting ready to do those.
Most of it's all in now.
I think one or two had to be moved around. I think we got a couple mixed up. So it might have been out there while that was going on. The other thing is kind of not necessarily related to maintenance, but we are at some point. Which Witt's not here this morning. But we're trying to get our new course ratings. I've already kind of got some stuff in the works on the scorecard. But the back tee, the other thing is, I guess the back tee box on 7 got washed away. The new one got washed away. The dirt's there now, but grass will be on it maybe midsummer potentially for play. I don't know.
I mean, it should be soon. I just got through boxing it off and shaping it a little bit
Yeah.
yesterday, so.
But
Yeah.
I guess the point was, if we play, so with the new tee box, we added back tees on 2, 7 and 9, 10, 11, and 17. So that new yardage for the black tee is 72.14 if you play 7 all the way back. So you can't quite get it over 7,200 yet until that tee box is in play, but once it is, you can stretch it out. It'll be just over 7,200 yards. And so hopefully, if we can ever get some ratings, we'll have new scorecards of that on there. And then kind of last thing, I know we've talked about it, just with the events coming up, I guess course marking, I know Alan brought it up yesterday, and we've got some thoughts on that. Alan, I don't know if you want to share anything there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I gave Marty that marking book of the PGA. It's, first off, I hate to go to a golf course, plop down my money, and then go out there and hit it somewhere. You don't know whether you're inbounds, out of bounds, in a penalty area, out of it. And it's one thing about our course, it's always been marked. And so we need to remark it. And I'll be glad to help. Like, I've pounded a lot of stakes in my day. No. But, it's like you and I talked. A guy goes out there and he plops down his, $65 on Saturday. He has every right to believe that the golf course is going to be properly marked. I mean, you wouldn't go out there and leave flag sticks out, or you put tee markers out. So the marking is just part of it. And I think it's something that over the years has set us apart from the metro parks and some of those. They just disregard a lot of this stuff. And we haven't we haven't disregarded it, so. I think we need to get it back marked. Do you still have all those stakes?
Yeah, we went to just using something that was a little bit less, we'll say, and that was I thought it was looking pretty good visually from a player standpoint, like where they can stand on a tee box and they can see a 4x4 post is what we got now, and it's marking like the tall grass area on two or something, but you can see a really nice noticeable red stake from a player's point of view if you hit it over there. Plus we keep a line down. Now the line is really what is something we probably just, it fades sometimes before you get back out there, but usually it's always a remnant of the line, and that's what we've been using as the dictator of what the hazard is the line. And the stake may be kind of inside of the hazard a little bit, so that you can see it, but it's not necessarily marking the line. It's just something.
Well, it's, when you have a line down, the stake is only there for identification.
Exactly, that's what we're
It doesn't
using.
define the perimeter of it or anything. Well, we got lines down now?
Yeah, they're faded probably right now, and what we're using a painted white line on our out of bounds. Just saw some other people that had come in and hosting stuff at our place, and that's what they were doing. Thought it seemed like it's a little bit less clutter out there, and it looks like it's easier for the player too, maybe, I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, because I hadn't noticed any lines down there, but I probably hadn't really looked for them. But
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Where is that, left on two?
The out of bounds line, I'm sure is gone. The white always fades quicker.
See, we had, I don't know how deep you want to go in this, but we had the whole left side of number one, the stakes going down through there. And then, of course, then all the way down two, and then it turns red.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's only one or two stakes going down number one there.
Yeah, there's probably not many. No.
Yeah, all right, now, you can see, and we had it all the way coming back up to the left side of number one tee back there by then. And then the out of bounds went all the way over to the other side of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And down the parking lot and
Yeah.
around there. And,
Yeah, some of that stuff may not be like it.
yeah, we need to mark that, I think. I think we need to get stakes back up
Okay.
on that. But the lines are fine,
Yeah, that's what we were just trying to go to, less stakes and more. I thought the 4x4 posts were actually stood out a little more.
Yeah.
And so you can see from a distance a little better. Just not as many of them. And the line is just, that's what we'll need to just freshen up.
Well,
more often.
that's fine to
Okay.
do that. I think though, on the out of bounds stakes, you need to be able to, between any two stakes along through there, you need to be able to define a line,
Right.
not a painted line, but
Yeah.
a sight line.
Yeah, okay. We can just use that, not use a line.
And I'll be glad to help you.
The third thing, excuse me, is in kind of tying, more with kind of the fourth item on our agenda when it comes to budget, but we're looking, maybe at potential sponsorship opportunities, community partnerships with the Murfreesboro Sports Authority. So we've looked at, some example, we obviously want, but just as for potential revenue enhancement, obviously, want to do it tactfully, don't want a bunch of necessarily signage or, ads everywhere, but, maybe, our current golf cart system has the ability to put a digital ad on the GPS screen. We utilize that for some of our bigger tournaments. So you've got a potential to display 36 ads at the tee box and green on every hole. I don't necessarily know what that that what the right price to put, that's where they come in, I guess, right? But, I'm just throwing a number out. If we've got 36 ads and maybe you could get $1,000 a year from that, they're gonna get, close to 50, we'll talk about it more, but, 50,000 rounds of golf, 50,000 eyeballs looking at it potentially. Maybe not some of the same, right? But, $1,000 a year, that's $36,000. If you get to $1,500 a year for that sponsorship, now you're closer to $50,000. So I don't know what the fair market value is for that stuff, but that's where they could come in. So I don't know, Nate, did you have anything
Yeah, no,
to add to
I
that?
think you hit the nail on the head that we're looking at options. So the Sports Authority, we hired a consultant. That's his job. He goes out and finds sponsorships that match whatever we're trying to do. So what we're trying to do is prove Siegel Soccer Complex is kind of the model of what can be done tactically and recoup some of the revenue. So we're going to sell the naming rights of that building. It'll be like $150,000 a year with a 3% escalator, on top of that. And then we'll sell some stuff on the fields. But Trey and I talked, we don't want to do anything like that at golf whatsoever, because I think, we just want to dip our toe in the water and not sell the building, not sell naming rights or anything like that, but dip our toe in the water and say, hey, can we use this opportunity we have with our existing golf carts? And it's really no work on staff or anybody, maybe except for uploading whatever it is, because the consultant actually goes out and gets a commission on what he gets. And he gets the highest number for those and brings those back in. He's on the retainer for us. So there's minimal risk, but I think what Trey and I have talked about is I just wanted to test your appetite to see if that's something, just any thoughts or any comments about it.
Well, I'll give my comment. I think probably, we discussed this years ago, about long before our carts had the TV screen and all that. And for me, I don't know how you guys feel, but I wouldn't mind it on the cart thing up there. But I hate to go to a place, you arrive at the first tee, there's a big sign saying "Eat at Joe's."
See, I was thinking we could name the restaurant Richardson's. For nominal contribution. Richardson's. Get your tuna sandwich at Richardson's Tuna Sandwich.
Well, how much it cost me to eat there?
You get 50% off your pimento cheese sandwich, but you put the name on it.
I have one of them this weekend.
Yeah.
I had a good tuna fish sandwich over there the other day.
To me, it makes sense, if not just the blank screen's just dead space.
What you'll see first is the Siegel stuff, and they might happen at the same time. And I don't want that to scare you all, because you're going to see Vanderbilt Health, plastered on a 110,000 square foot indoor facility, or not Vanderbilt, but we're looking at different options, or Adidas, or whoever it is. We're talking to some pretty big corporate, groups. So we don't want that to match, be similar to what we want to do at the golf course. Just pick low-hanging fruit.
It seems like, some places you'll go when you're pumping gas and they'll have the screen, and it's, something you have the news, but then there's an ad or something. It just makes sense. I would think nearly every realtor in town would want to,
There might be
cut you off. So is the goal to get revenue up through sponsorship? Is that kind of what we're discussing here?
Could be just one opportunity to do that.
I mean, this
lessen
way,
the taxpayer burden, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always, because, we're a revenue neutral facility.
I think about kind of as a young guy, just seeing how Murfreesboro has evolved. And one of the things that makes the city great is small business, right? We have tons of small business owners, either in this room or in this community. Is there even an opportunity? Because I think there'd be a lot of small business guys and girls in this town who, if there was an incentive other than taxes, to make a donation to the course, whether that be through so many rounds of golf, the small business gets to play for free, in a year basis. And to me, the trade-off is, it's free, but they've made a $2,500 contribution to the course, right? So it's really not free. in sense of they're paying a lump sum up front and then they get to play so many times a year, or, you know, the bigger the donation, they get an ad plus so many free rounds a year, something like that is what I think would get a lot of the local small business owners on board, especially with the club being closed, because a lot of those guys play there. It might be a good time to feel that out.
There's lots of models we can go after. I think we lean our consultant who's done it before. We do have to throttle him back just because he wants to sell everything, you know. So we're not going that far. So, but I just think it's, like I've said several times, I think it's just low hanging fruit. And then it might open some other doors to where, you know, we talk about being revenue neutral, but we're still paying for debt when it comes to renovation and stuff like that. So it's not apples to apples, but I think anything we can do to lessen the taxpayer burden with what we have with current assets is a good idea.
We don't have an advertiser on the scorecard, do we? Like someplace?
I think that would be something, you know, like you said, a lot of realty firms would be all on board with everything they could get their hands on.
If I'm playing, it wouldn't bother me at all to see an ad between holes, you know, if you're driving.
I think the screen's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine, but I certainly don't want to clutter up the.
No, I'm talking about on the screen as you're driving.
Yeah.
It's pop up on the screen.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine, but we certainly don't want to ruin the beauty of the golf course
Absolutely.
with, like I say, an Eat at Joe's sign, you know. No.
Yeah.
That was Richardson's. Richardson's. It will be.
Yeah.
I should have brought this here for you all. I'll get it to Travis now, but there has been an ordinance passed as far as what type of advertising that can be done, so it really throttles back, you know, specific things that we don't want, so you can imagine.
You like mowing around those extra signs and everything, Marty, when you get it?
No, it's hard enough mowing around the out of bounds.
Yeah.
Will the carts that you're talking about upgrading to, will the screen capabilities be more as they're evolving? Is that an evolving technology that's?
I'm sure it is. I've not looked into details about the screens. We've looked at size and that thing. As far as capabilities, they should be able to at least do what they currently do, and I'm sure they can be more advanced. I've not looked at that specifically.
Tesla car's next.
Perfect. That is, speaking of that, though, that is the way, that like, probably the next golf cart purchase will be more expensive because now everything's lithium batteries, which last longer, they're lighter. So some good trade-offs, but so they're moving toward that, I guess. I don't know if they drive themselves yet, though. All right, where are we at? That's right.
Did you get through with item 3?
Yes.
I just want to confirm the general consensus is that we're okay pursuing that through the Sports Authority. And then just so those funds that the Sports Authority will be taking in, those will be set aside to be able to go back towards enhancements. So whatever we come in per facility will be specified for that facility.
Well, let's try it again.
Robert, I hadn't even been able to get that lane up there named Hoover Lane that donated that $17,000 worth of rock put under that building. Is that right?
Not that. We'll just work on the screen.
We'll just start causing that, do a word of mouth. We'll just do a word of mouth campaign. We'll just start saying it. In fact, I'm going to call it Richardson's at the
Well,
restaurant.
see, the thing about it is, I don't have anything to sell. I mean, I don't have any business, I'm unemployed.
I think, much like Arnold Palmer did at the end of his career, just the legendary status and the aura around you is enough that we can sell.
That may work. I had to pay my income tax. I got my income tax back yesterday, so it might be a little while. I have to save up again.
So this is just kind of a, somewhat high-level overview. We just went through kind of the initial steps of budgeting for the next fiscal year. So what you're seeing aren't actual numbers that are approved yet. That won't happen until, June, end of May. So we'll have a meeting here in about 3 weeks to kind of look at these even further. So nothing is set in stone at this point yet. This is just kind of what's been initially submitted. This is kind of where things are at. It's kind of, again, a high-level overview. So I'll just show you what we've got here. So this is just kind of revenues and expenses. Doesn't include fixed assets or anything from like our capital improvement plan that Nate was talking about, where debt service potentially is used. So this is from 2020. So the thing here to note is 2023, that's and it's budget year 23, so that's really the last full fiscal year the golf course is open before the renovation. So the dips in 24 to 25, I mean, that's due to the golf course being closed partially. When you look at the revenue standpoint, operating costs being a little bit lower, so that's what you're seeing there. And then the 26 budget number, that's kind of showing, this will be really the first budget year where we've had, that the golf course has been fully open since our last rate increase, which was August of 2023. So we project to be, a little higher revenue-wise. You can kind of see, operating expenses have gone up. If you look at since 2023, and again, that's 22 and 23 year. So I think inflation's about 4 or 4.5%. So, I mean, it's not much more than inflation really from an operational standpoint. And then obviously payroll, we've added one new full-time position that was paid for in part because we doubled our range business, and so we needed to expand there. Outside of that, it's just normal stuff from a payroll side of things too. So you can kind of see the bottom line numbers, what that looks like. And this is just for Old Fort. This doesn't include Bloomfield. So if you just look at our top 5 expenses, this shows you what we're spending money on. Almost 35%. It's just full-time salaries. If you factor in part-time there, you're basically 45% of our budget is people. The next, supplies for resale goes directly into obviously a revenue source for us is for both golf shop and food and beverage, and then health insurance. So those are our top 5 biggest expenses. Make up almost 70% of our budget. So if you want to go just a little further into it, because there's a big chunk of the pie there, 32%, right? Other expenses. So if you kind of dive a little further into that, now if you look at just the top 10, you're at almost 83% of the budget. So those next 5 lines, that's our agricultural and horticultural supplies. That's our chemicals for the golf course. You've got sales tax, right? Defined benefits, Social Security, Medicare, and bank service charges. That's credit card fees. That's our top 10. And just in terms of like cutting costs, right? That's kind of where we want to look anytime there's a potential shortfall in revenue. It's kind of hard to cut some of these costs unless we're cutting either the quality of the course or the service that we provide. And then if you look a little further, our next 5, things like electricity, equipment repair, that software there, that $36,000 of that number, that's what we pay for our GPS cart control. So almost all of that's related to golf carts, and the ability to do some of the things we can do with those. The 14th item technically on the list, repair and maintenance buildings, that's a one-time cost, roof replacement of the clubhouse, been about 30 years since we've done that, probably about time to do that. And then another thing related to salaries there. So that makes up almost 92% of our budget. So I'm sure there can be a few things we can trim, but it's not necessarily maybe enough to make up the shortfall of revenues. So, if we look at kind of a revenue side of things, obviously almost 50% of our revenue comes from greens fees. That, and then you add cart fees, that's a really, really large chunk of that pie. Followed by pro shop concession income, again, driving range income, that amount's doubled. Sales tax collected, and then just some nominal stuff there, really. So make up 7, 8, and 9. But obviously a large chunk of that comes from golf cart rental and greens fees. So that's just kind of a snapshot of where we're at with revenues and expenses. Just a little bit about who's
That's a
playing.
question about
Yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah.
Go back
Okay.
2 slides.
If I can figure out how to do that.
And maybe not, my question's
Yeah.
about
This one?
bank service charges.
Yes.
Is that debit and credit? If you use plastic, we're
Yeah.
paying the service
Yeah.
fee.
Yeah. It's less than 3%, which is kind of the going rate, I think, but it depends. It fluctuates based on the card and different things.
How much do you have budgeted for?
Yeah.
We're close to 100,000 on our side. And just in
And
parks.
yeah.
I mean, is that a thing where it's where the thought should be just pass that on to the consumer?
We've looked at that, and I think what we've decided that, you can do it one of two ways. You can either pass it on directly as an additional fee, which kind of creates additional work, or just bake it into your cost up front and your greens fees up front.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it's what you're doing one of the two, basically.
I got you. So it's kind of, that part's kind of eaten up in whatever the green fee.
That's exactly.
I got you, okay.
It also feels really government-y when you go pay and you're.
100%, yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay.
No, good question, though.
Just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of who's playing. So when we did the last rate increase in August of '23, at that time, I think it was kind of we don't have anybody, Kurt's not here this morning, but it was kind of a push to offer resident versus non-resident rates. We offered essentially discounts for residents in that regard. So you can see that about 65% of our play is residents. If we are looking at doing anything, well, and then I think the question was, earlier a little bit we had was about, the cart path only, and so it's less people playing. So the last full year the course is open, we did 49,201 rounds in that. That's a typo there. That should be fiscal year, not calendar year, because everything's been, I don't know why I put that last night. But anyway, that should be fiscal year 23. So it would have been July 1, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. So year to date in this fiscal year, we're at almost 20,000 rounds of golf. If you look at what we did in that the year we were open, you do about 10,500 in July and August. So that same time period in that budget year, we did 49,000 rounds, we're at 30,000. So we're still right on the mark, basically. So really, nothing's changed in terms of, we really can't fit a whole lot more people on the golf course. I guess that's the point. So you kind of see who's playing, what rates are the most important. The top 5 are all 18-hole rates. That makes up 75% roughly of all play. Big chunk of that senior residents, followed by our weekend 18-hole resident rate. And this is in terms of this is in terms of revenue and rounds played. So this percentage is on revenues. Okay, so this is kind of who's playing and where that revenue is coming from. But so it's all 18-hole rounds. It's mostly resident. The one non-resident rate is the senior, and then the weekend 18. The other 3 are residents. So kind of the next slide, this just shows you our current rates. The ones kind of with the boxes, those are the ones that we're really talking about. Like this is where the 75% of our chunk is coming from. Part of this is a regional market comparison. We did one in 2023. I still got that data. I looked at a few things. I don't know that necessarily we're here today to make a decision on this. I'm just providing you with information. I think we've got more budget meetings. We'll probably, when we meet again June 11th, that might be the time when we make a decision. But I'm just kind of providing you with information, I guess, at this point. We can discuss possible solutions. That's where things like the sponsorship piece come in. You guys play probably more golf at different places than I do, so I'm not sure. I've looked at some of what people are charging. Some people have not changed rates since 2023. Some have changed drastically. To give you an example of one that's I think changed quite a bit. I know Champions Run, when we did this, they were at $55. They're at $69, I believe, on the weekend now, the best I could find. A lot of people are not changing rates until right about now. So that's why I didn't really go into it, because some people haven't really, they're like, yeah, we're changing, or some people had changed already, some hadn't. So I didn't really go into that part just yet. We can look at that maybe if that's some information you want in June. But I mean, I also think, and this is something that is obviously thrown around, quite a bit. If we're, as we're looking at this, we still have to figure out our bottom line, not other golf courses, and if are we the same golf course wise as maybe a Smyrna or an Indian Hills? Do we really care what their rates are at the end of the day? We don't want to be obviously just way off, but. So, I don't know. I guess it's just, this is what they are, this is what the budget is, and we can open it up for discussion if y'all have any questions.
I think when we shut down, everybody else went up. They did. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't know, Indian Hills was, I think, 40, 45, maybe something like that.
As I recall, Indian Hills didn't go up until our second week up there. First week, they didn't go up.
They didn't go up on the first week.
Maybe they were 43, and then Cedar Crest was 45, maybe. Somebody told me that Champions Run was going private. You heard that?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And I've heard the completely private, and they may let people play Monday through Thursday. So I think that would be maybe the end of this year potentially. That's what I've heard.
So our senior rate now is cheaper than anybody.
What's the state park rate? What's Horton on the weekend?
They are at 65. So, and what I guess.
You think we need to increase them to meet budget numbers?
Well, we would, if we want to be revenue neutral, we would need to generate about, I think it was almost 150, 100, I'd have to go back to that first slide. But yeah, I mean, if we want to be revenue neutral, we'll have to do something. I mean, we are budgeting conservatively on, I think we try to underspend what we budgeted. We can't, it's hard to go back and ask for more money from city council, so we just try to underspend there. Hopefully we overperform revenue-wise, but I don't think it'll be 150,000 this year.
You said the last full fiscal year is about 40,000 rounds of golf played.
So let me go back. The fiscal year 23, that would have been the last time, because we closed the golf course in 24, so in that FY24 year, we shut down. So there's 49,201 there in 2022 to 23.
I mean, just looking back at the current rates page, not that I love increasing fees, because, we all pay it. If you were to take the current weekend rate for residents and make that 50, and then so that's about $6 a head, and And then, what was it, 60-something% of our players of that 49,000 approximately, 65?
Yep,
That's about $140,000 right there.
that's right. Yeah, no, so I didn't, again, because we're not necessarily ready to make a decision.
Sure.
You and I are kind of tracking here, really, when I kind of just throw some stuff down, I think if we made our current resident rates to match our current non-resident rates.
But even if you just did it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Raise the non-resident equally.
Right, yeah, you would go up there too. What I would think is if we could make, my thought, this is just where I'm at, we can totally be different here. I think if we made sure that whatever our resident rate was enough to cover our budget, and then the cushion could come from the non-resident play to.
What kind of revenue is possible with the advertisement deal?
We'd have to study it.
Ish.
I really could.
Ish.
I mean, Trey could probably answer. I know we've been studying Siegel, and we're thinking usually $400,000 a year for 5 years with a 3% escalator on each one. So, I mean, I've not looked at it at all. I don't know what you could sell a sponsorship.
How many people would you say in a year visit Siegel?
Siegel, so
Any idea?
2023, when we were halfway open, we had 817,000 people visit
That's a
Siegel.
lot, that's a lot.
So it's a lot of, and then we're having them coming in from all over the country.
Sure.
So that's the reason we're going out and putting out information for, all over the country, especially for the building naming rights. So I could study it and see, I could get with our consultant.
What's our fleet of carts? How many carts we have?
75.
75? I guess 72 on a full golf course, 72.
When do they need to be replaced in the trade?
We purchased that fleet in February of 2020. So this February made 5 years. However, we were closed basically almost a full year. So we've got almost another year of warranty on the batteries, which is the biggest
The expensive
expense
part,
when those start dying on you. So what I've asked is what I've done or what I'm doing is getting pricing right now. A lot of it's easier to price it maybe at the end of this calendar year, which would be close if we had to buy them into say February of '26. But getting kind of pricing right now, most of them their pricing is currently this calendar year, so I'm looking at maybe a December type of delivery date potentially to see what that would look like. It's still been the same budget year. And then we did set up, so one thing I will say, when we do get ready to do this, we did set up a sinking fund the last time, so we've got really the money already there. Well, we will have the money there at the end of this year to, it should offset hopefully all of the cost. I'm still waiting on to see what that quote comes back as.
Is there a way, you got to decide this in June?
Well, we've traditionally done it around July 1, just when new fiscal year. So I think
It doesn't necessarily have
Yeah,
to.
it doesn't have to be.
Is there a way to get study numbers from advertising? I mean, is there a way to advertise without green fee increase is what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
You're saying is there a way to offset?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
our,
Yeah.
I think there's a way, how much, we don't
Yeah.
know. But like I said, we don't want to sell our soul when it comes to the golf course integrity.
Sure.
And what it looks like in appearance. You can absolutely do it. We could make,
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking just the screens.
Yeah.
If you
I can see if we can get some-
whatever that looked like, because, I mean, we're gonna have to go up the price, as stuff goes up, stuff has to go up, right? But if you could offset some of that, instead of it going up, I think your next sign said, what, $4 or whatever it was, or the number that.
Yeah, I just want $5 to $6 to make it 50 flat.
Yeah.
And I still think at 50 flat, again, I don't love the idea of raising green fees, but, inflation, price goes up, everything goes up.
Yeah.
At $50 a head for residents, and then it would go up, to 60 for non-residents. That's still cheaper than 90% of the golf courses.
Oh, yeah, I think, we got a Williamson County, our golf course is a $95 golf course, right, in my mind, right?
I think it's a both.
Yeah, at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's a both and scenario. And I think, what we've been charged, I know Darren, our city manager, and our council, instead of waiting a few years and then going up, $10, They'd rather us just go up incrementally. So I just took a package to Parks Commission last week that we increased our Borough Beach admissions and pavilions, just the whole package, anywhere from 20 to 70% on some of those things. So some of those haven't been taken incrementally.
Yeah.
But that's going to bring in about $180,000, we think. So I think it's a both and, just speaking, I think a nominal increase. I think our council would say gouge the non-resident, charge them $80.
Yeah.
That's what they, of course, we
And everybody that comes up there is a resident.
Right. So, but I think it's both and, is what I'm trying to say. I think we can study that, we can implement some type of sponsorship opportunity while doing an incremental increase that's almost unnoticeable to most people playing golf.
I would think from a public perception standpoint, a privately owned golf course, gouging you, to take your word, I get it,
Right.
But I think if we can stay somewhere on track with state park courses as a city-owned property, at least you're saying, well, you can go to Horton and it's going to cost this, or you can go to Bear Trace, or something,
Right.
along those lines. It makes sense. And if everybody's incrementally going up at those, then it makes sense. But
Yeah, our rate, honestly, when we tried to get as close to Horton as we could during the last rate
yeah,
increase. And so I think they just went through a bunker renovation, so I'm not sure if they published their new rates. I hadn't looked into that. I know they were, in 2023, they were $62 and we were $49, so then now we're 65. I think they were also 65. So I think we're right there, but a resident here would play cheaper than they could play at Horton. So that, the other thing potentially is, and that, there's, and opinions are everywhere on this too. Another potential solution to increase some revenues without necessarily changing the rates would be to look at Horton, their senior rate 62, ours is 55. So that moves some more people into that higher rate category that are paying a little bit cheaper now without necessarily increasing the rate. You could also look at, some people count Friday as a weekend.
charge these guys more without increasing mine? Man,
That's not fair.
that's not.
No, I'm saying change.
Make up for in the Richardson restaurant.
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm saying.
Tuna fish sandwich just went up 75 cents, didn't it?
Oh, I got you. So that's, but, so if we're looking at that, I think, that's one thing where we're different as Horton, their senior age is 62 versus 55, so that could be, it'd be hard to put a number on what that could do, sure, revenue wise. I don't have that data, but.
Trey, I love Henry Horton, I love playing over there, but we've got a much better golfing experience at our place. One thing, we got better carts.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got much, and hopefully we keep these carts when we get our new one, and their cart paths they've gotten shoddy over the years, so we have a much better experience than what the guys get. So, I think someone like Robert, we at least ought to charge what they charge.
Yeah.
And plus, at the same time, we're providing a better experience for the golfer. Plus, another thing, you on your, we can add to our revenue with those signs on there by advertising the Richardson. When they get on number 9, but have that up there, be sure and get stopped and get tuna sandwich and a beer,
The picture of Alan.
We want to get the picture. I put it up there, though.
I think, I haven't played Pine Creek in forever, but I think they're over 70.
I think so.
Right? And I know Franklin Bridge is 90, if not at 100. And our golf course is head and shoulders above both of those.
Yeah.
It's not even close. But I think from perception, as a public facility, being in line with what the state parks are, just to me makes sense, Where's Smyrna at on theirs?
I think there's 52.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even
And that's our
close.
18 weekends. I mean, we're 59 if we're residents.
Ain't even close, ain't even close to the same golf course.
Our next meeting is in June, correct?
June, yeah. So June 11th, so Wendy asked, then a good idea. So we've got a June 11th meeting, September 10th meeting, and then a December 10th meeting. So that's kind of all of our dates for this year. But yeah, June 11th is our next.
So that gives us time, we'll be through budget meetings, we can forecast, you really dive into the numbers. I'll look into the sponsorship stuff, work with Trey, but maybe we can come back with something to vote on, with a new set of fees, whatever that looks like, that we could implement on July 1. And then in conjunction with some sponsorship information.
There's no reason we can't meet before then.
Sure. We could.
Have an emergency meeting anytime you want to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Reach them out.
Yeah.
It's just too good a golf course. I mean,
Trey, what was the weekly rate for seniors at Horton?
At Horton, I don't have
You don't have
it.
that.
I can,
That's-
give me a second, I can pull it.
I haven't played over there in a long time, so I don't know what they're charging.
Okay.
I've got to sneak out to a construction meeting, I'm sorry about that. You're fine.
We can find out together.
See you, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
65?
That's, well, senior
During the week.
18 Monday through Friday, $48. Or no, sorry, 45, Gary, $45.
Yeah, they're $7 higher than we are.
No, that's including the cart, right?
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, with cart, yeah, I see that.
So yeah, so like our resident currently pays 38.
38.
Yeah.
$7 difference. And most of the courses are right in that, they're in the 40,
Yeah.
43 to 45 range where I played.
We just don't need to get them too high to run anybody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you say that, but where's everybody running to?
I don't know, you may know, they may quit,
They just quit,
they're playing golf,
If it gets out, I guess you could make the cost too high and to grow the game idea goes away. But, I mean, this don't sound bad, there's a little bit of shooting fish in the barrel right now with golf in Rutherford County.
Yeah.
And there's, what you gonna do,
Well, we'll see what the sponsorship, if we can, that'd be great, right, if we could offset a lot of that with sponsorships. Nate and I can work on that. We'll, we can call a special meeting if we need to. Once we have that information, at the end of the month, we'll get through kind of our second level of budget meetings with the city manager, finance, so that, potential cost savings, things like that there. To look at, so we'll, and then we'll, at the latest, June 11th, hopefully before then, so it's gonna, if we meet June 11th, I mean, here's the thing, if we meet, because this kind of, I think what happened last time, if we waited till June 11th, it would probably be, August before, by the time it gets to city council and we can implement it. So we probably need to have something ready by, say, May, I would think, to try to meet something in July time period. So we can look at that if there's anything, if there's any, we'll definitely make sure we'll look at different state park rates. If there's anything else, I don't know, anybody would like us to look at or consider, we can do that. We'll come back with some more ideas. As far as golf programming and the junior golf initiatives, just a couple notes here, really. We kicked off middle school golf season at Old Fort Monday. We had a match Monday. Yesterday we had matches at both Old Fort and Bloomfield. So they're Monday or Tuesday afternoons. So we have about 6 matches with middle schools at Old Fort and then about 6 at Bloomfield. Then we'll have high school in the fall. Our junior golf, we started signing up for our spring Linksters program. The younger age group, the 69 age group, filled up about 2 hours on Saturday. The older age group, we filled up midweek, the following week. We started sign-ups March 1st, so all the spring linksters is full. We've got a summer linksters, we've got a fall linksters, we've got a tour series, kind of play your own ball. She's added some camps, and all that's going, really well. We're also going to be hosting 2 of I guess they've separated the county schools now into maybe 2 districts, so we're going to have 2 district golf tournaments at Old Fort this fall for the high schools, and then a regional tournament at Old Fort. Obviously not having the state tournament there, but so we'll have a lot of junior golf happening, and is happening at Old Fort. So just kind of wanted to update you on that. But I don't know if anybody had any questions related to that, but. I think then the only other really thing I had discussion-wise was, I know last we met, we talked about some synthetic turf tees for Bloomfield. We're looking at about $30,000, potentially doing a little bit less. We did find, matter of fact, the company that did a renovation, Wadsworth, has a foundation. They were ones that helped initially build Bloomfield. I think they donated $10,000 to that, so we can either look at trying to find more.
10,000 of the tees?
Yes, yeah. That's so they donated it through the Tennessee Golf Foundation. So we've got to either do a kind of a designated donation line item in our budget to do that. We either need to find more funding or see if we want to budget for that.
I went out on Sunday. Was able to, couldn't play a full 18, but went to Bloomfield, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Just the tee box areas, they had the mats laid down. But just, from where the mats were laid down to about probably 10 yards is just tore up.
It's just dirt.
Yeah. And that, I just wanted to bring that up, not to shame Bloomfield Links, because I think it's great what we have to offer there, but just to, as someone who's been out there as of this past weekend, just kind of report what I saw.
Sure.
Just gets beat up, huh?
Yeah. And the mats that are out there are just,
I mean, those are old mats from our range.
it's like hitting off the dirt.
Yeah, it's not any better, right?
I think it's a necessity.
Yeah.
I know the little short course down at the PGA, when I first started going down there, it would, all the teeing areas just eat up. So you're hitting a wedge, or thereabouts.
Little course has them too, don't they? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about PGA National, PGA Golf Village down in Port St. Lucie. They got a little 6-hole, par 3, it's all short iron.
Yeah.
But now they got the synthetic turf down. It looks a whole lot, looks 100% better.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, I guess, I asked for the budget last year, and we got shot down, and we were told to find additional funding, so we might get in somebody's ear on that.
I would think anyone that questions that, I would think that you could take some video, and some photographic evidence, and some user, comments,
Right.
and it just makes sense. They would not want anyone at a swimming pool, or a soccer field or a softball field, in that kind of condition, and expect it to be a thing. So. And
Especially when you're getting the volume of play like we're getting.
and you're not talking about gigantic pieces of.
And the play out there was ridiculous with the amount of people out there on Sunday. I mean, we were 5 backed up at tee box of people just out there with their kids, or just out there like me wanting to get a couple swings in, or there's a huge differential of player out there, which is what I think Bloomfield is perfect for.
Right.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, and a little bit to that point, I think, if nothing, we may at some point have to look at how we operate Bloomfield from whether or not we look at rates or different rates for Bloomfield. I'm not necessarily what I was planning to talk about today, but we do currently, everything is an all-day fee. But I mean, if we've got the volume of play, we may have to look at least making it a 6-hole fee, not an all-day fee, because all you need is 30 people and that place is full.
Yeah.
You know, so we might have to look at adjusting that, if nothing else, now that it's staffed 100% of the time, basically. So I don't know if we would want to lower the rates because it's a 6-hole fee, or keep them where they're at, or I don't know if you have any feedback on that. I wouldn't really mind. That's a good point, because it can't get past.
One of the things I observed, and it's not even, I get it, because it's Bloomfield, right? Like, the course is out there just to get people out playing golf. But I got stuck behind a group of 3, probably in their 20s, late 20s, and they were sharing one golf bag.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they all hit, and then they all go find the balls together as a group, and then what club are you hitting? And then they hit, and then everyone putts out, and then it's like, you're waiting for 15 minutes, and then, you know, it's hole 5, it's 42 yards. And it's like, come on, guys. And, you know, again, we don't need to be the pace of play police out there, but just, I mean, even simpler things like that. Hey, everyone just needs to have their own bag or just a couple of clubs.
Yeah.
It would exponentially speed up
Right.
how quickly people are going through the course out there.
That's a good point. Yeah. And we do that for Old Fort, so that maybe that's something we try to implement there. Everybody should have clubs. But we have kids clubs, so that's not an issue. So the adults that, I guess, I'm assuming those adults.
Yeah, they were in their probably 20s, 30s.
Yeah, so I mean, we already have kids clubs over there, so if it's a kid that doesn't have clubs, we can certainly get those to them. We have adult clubs as well, so we can try to implement that for sure.
Are there adult clubs at the little clubhouse up there for?
We have, well, no, but we have them at Old Fort, so we can look at getting a set, or you know, I mean, really all you need there is maybe
Pitching wedge
a couple wedges and a putter,
Yeah.
yeah, so we can put together some stuff to keep over there for that, for sure. That would be easy.
Well, we'll be able to get, if we need anything, he ought to be able to get us any of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And just the course marshal who's sitting up there in his golf cart can just do a quick eye check when you show them your receipt. Everyone got their own clubs? Great. If not, I got some right here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else there, Trey? Any new business at all that we hadn't discussed already?
Don't believe so, no, sir.
Nothing further than we are adjourned.